Chapter 98 to 102. Vegeta dash, but that doesn't tell me why I can't transform anymore. Bulma dash, do you have any patience? I was getting to that part. As I was saying before I was interrupted, the cells which allow you to transform into an Super Saiyan are special cells, I call them S cells. Anyways, your S cells contain a huge amount of energy and by tapping into them they allow you to transform, but that's only when your S cells have been completely filled to the brim with energy, and right now they currently aren't filled. Halfway through her speech, she changed the picture to one that showed the S cells of Vegeta, and by looking at them you could tell the difference. The scan from several months ago has several S cells completely filled with energy, but the new scan showed far more S cells but they weren't completely filled with energy, at least not yet. Piccolo dash, so that means, he can still transform, correct? Bulma dash, from the data I've gathered from the scan, he indeed can. But before you guys leave there was something else I've found out from the scan. Vegeta dash, it better not be anything bad. Bulma dash, you can decide that for yourself, but that transformation you achieved wasn't just a simple transformation that increases your power, it has slightly changed your DNA. Nala dash, that's interesting, how has it been changed? Bulma dash, well for starters here's Vegeta's current DNA strand, and here's Sage's DNA scan. The pictures on the screen changed again, now the left one showed Vegeta's DNA, and the right one showed Sage's DNA. When they were side by side, they looked very similar, except for some very minor changes, but I was more curious about how Bulma got Sage's DNA. Nala dash, Bulma, how did you get dash? Bulma dash, how did I get Sage's DNA? Well it's simple dear Nala, there were a few times when Sage has been seriously injured, and each time I was there to help with the healing process, I scanned his body and took samples of his blood, it's as easy as it gets. I don't know how I feel about another woman having Sage's DNA, but then again I do have samples of everyone else's DNA somewhere in my lab, so I decided to not comment. Vegeta dash, our DNA looks similar, so what, we're both Saiyans. Goku dash, yeah, shouldn't all Saiyans' DNA look similar, we are of the same species after all? Bulma dash, yes, that's true, but before Vegeta's DNA showed an obvious difference from Sage's DNA. Now though, they look almost the exact same, but the change in your DNA isn't the problem, it's the result of the change that alarmed me. You see the form you are currently in is your normal form, but with the change in your DNA that's changed, that ancient Saiyan transformation is now your normal form. The form you're in now is like a degraded form that's meant to suppress your power, similar to how Frieza had different forms to control his power. Vegeta dash, so that means I can only go Super Saiyan when I'm in that ancient Saiyan form? Bulma dash, that's what's it looking like to me. Goku dash, so nothing much has changed then. Vegeta dash, if that's all, I'll be leaving. Now that we learned what happened to Vegeta, he left the lab right after along with Goku and Piccolo following right behind. I don't know where old Kai and Kaioshin have gone off to, but whatever. Nala dash, bye Bulma, and thanks for the help. Bulma dash, Vegeta should be the one saying that, but I guess you're welcome. Don't forget to come by if you ever want to talk about stuff, I have nothing important to do so I'm always available. When she said that, she turned around in her swivel chair and looked at me seriously for a second before turning around after I replied back to her. Nala dash, I know, but there's still people trying to kill us and destroy the planet, so I don't really have the time, although I don't mind coming to talk once everything has settled. Slithering out of the lab, I make my way outside and find no one except for a note on a chair with my name on it. Picking it up, I read the contents of the note. I'm going back to old Kai so he can unlock my potential so that I can help with future battles. Goku has decided to spend the rest of his training in the HTC so he can master his Ozaru form and learn the same technique from old Kai that Vegeta learned, and Vegeta has gone somewhere to probably control his newfound power. Piccolo. Nalaha, did they really just leave me alone? Whatever, I've had enough of them for 2 days anyways, I'm going back home to lay down and get some rest. Activating a rune on my bracelet, I'm teleported to our spaceship. Slithering to my bedroom, I open the door, quickly change into some pajamas and flop on the super comfortable mattress, and slowly drift to sleep. Nala, I want my family back again. Underscore. I'm currently standing outside in the middle of nowhere on the edge of a crater overlooking a battle that has just ended between Goku and Haze, the two-star dragon, and currently, Haze has been defeated and while that should make everyone happy, we're not. The reason for our unhappiness even when winning is how difficult the battle between Goku and Haze was. The battle took 2 hours, along with Goku receiving several injuries, nothing too serious, but they weren't light either. Goku's at the bottom of the crater injured, looking at the dying Haze. He's in his true Saiyan form, that's the name we gave the form as this is what the very first Saiyan ever looked like. He has red fur, the same as Vegeta, but his hair is black. Goku has also gone through the same technique Vegeta did and has gotten several times stronger as well. Nala dash, so, am I the only one that's kinda worried about the one-star dragon, Sin? Piccolo dash, not much we can do, we've done everything within our power to defeat the cursed Dragon Balls. Piccolo has also gotten much stronger after having his potential unlocked by old Kai through his weird ritual, although it took 3 days for the ritual to be completed, but the effects were amazing. Piccolo's power is on par with Goku's and Vegeta's now. Focusing back on Goku, I noticed Haze has died and left behind his Dragon Ball like all the other Cruz dragons we fought. Slithering down the crater, I arrive next to Goku and pick up the 2-star Dragon Ball before putting it in along with the rest of the cursed Dragon Balls. Nala dash, 6, down, 1 more to go. Nala POV. Turning around, I hand a couple of senzu beans over to Goku, who swallows all of them, allowing his body to fully heal and as well get slightly stronger than before. Goku dash, thanks Nala. Nala dash, no problem, now all that's left is to defeat the 1-star dragon, Sin. Responding back to Goku, I think out loud about our last enemy to defeat before everything calms back down. Vegeta dash, as long as he isn't like the 5-star dragon, then he won't be too big of a deal. Although I doubt he will be an easy fight, I'm never one to run away from a challenge. Piccolo and Vegeta both came down to the bottom of the crater, landing beside Goku. Goku dash, well, I wasn't there to fight him, so I don't know how annoying he was. Vegeta dash, tisk, lucky you. Piccolo dash, let's just prepare for our final battle that is about to arrive. We only have 24 hours, so let's make them count. Nala dash, Piccolo's right, make sure to get plenty of rest for the battle that is going to happen tomorrow. We need you 3 at your best. Reminding them to rest their bodies and not train too hard, I fly out of the crater, leaving them to their own agendas, and head back home, so that I can also prepare for the battle that is going to happen tomorrow. Nala, I just hope the enemy won't be too powerful. Underscore. Vegeta POV. Watching Nala fly away in the distance, I copy her actions and also leave to go and prepare for the next battle, as I can feel that I'm close to gaining my Super Saiyan form back. All I need is a push, and hopefully, I can achieve it before the battle tomorrow, or if I can't, maybe this Sin will be able to give me the push I need. Vegeta dash, I'm leaving to train. Goku dash, yeah, I need to still master this true Saiyan form, so I'll see you tomorrow. Piccolo dash, I also need to control my current power. As I'm flying away, I sense both Kakarot and Piccolo fly away in a different direction, most likely going to do some training. Focusing on flying, I notice I've arrived at the wasteland where Kakarot and I had our first fight. Landing on a rock pillar, I look around and notice all the damage and destruction from the battle that happened. I can even see the imprint of my Ozaru form on the ground still. Vegeta, to think it only took 12 years for me to go from one of Frieza's lackeys to one of the most powerful beings in the entire universe. TCH, and it was all because of that foolish Kakarot who spared me that day. Once we defeat the 1-star dragon, Kakarot and I will have a rematch, that's something I promise. Shaking my head to get rid of such thoughts, I focus back on the reason I even stopped here. Sitting down in a meditating position, I hover above the rock pillar and start meditating. After several hours of meditating, I open my eyes, stand up and notice the sky has darkened. Feeling the breeze against my body, I get into a calming state, and in doing so I spread my feet apart at shoulder length and slightly lean forward. I bring my arms up to just below my chest, and once I'm in position, I transform into my true Saiyan form, which not only massively changes my appearance, I also somehow change clothes, but I always ignore it as it doesn't do anything else. Closing my eyes, I revisit the memories of every battle I've ever had, from the very first battle with the Saiyans when Planet Vegeta was still around, to the most recent battle I had, which was EIS, the 3-star dragon. Opening my eyes, everything around me comes to a sudden halt before huge amounts of ki erupt from me as I power up to the maximum, which causes a tornado of wind to form with me at the center. When I'm at full power, I bring forth out even more power as I try to achieve Super Saiyan. My ki continues to rise, but even with all of that happening I still can't achieve my Super Saiyan form. Reining back in my ki, which causes everything to calm down and the tornado dissipating, I shoot a ki sphere at a pile of rocks in the distance in anger. Vegeta dash, damn it. Whatever, I'm close to gaining Super Saiyan back, that Sin better be able to force me to go Super Saiyan. Once I've released most of my anger, I leave the wasteland and fly home to give my body some rest and prepare for tomorrow's battle. While I was in the middle of eating my lunch along with Trunks and Bulma, both Trunks and I sensed the sudden arrival of an immense amount of evil ki that freaked out Trunks, and although I hate to admit it, even I was slightly surprised at the amount of ki this being was releasing. Trunks dash, D dad, I is that as Sin. Bulma dash, has the one-star dragon appeared, Vegeta? Vegeta dash, TCH, stay here. Standing up, I immediately transform into a true Saiyan as I don't want to get caught unprepared, and quickly head to the source of the ki. While I was flying to the source of the ki, I met up with Kakarot and Piccolo mid-flight. None of us said anything, all we did was nod at each other and continued flying. A minute later we arrived in an abandoned theme park, and standing atop a broken Ferris wheel is the origin of such evil and powerful ki, Sin, the one-star dragon. He's as tall as Piccolo, his body seems to be covered in some sort of bio-armor, he has black spikes protruding out from his elbows, knees, shoulder blades, and 2 giant horns on the top of his head. Also the one-star dragon ball is in the center of his forehead, similar to the previous cursed dragons. When the three of us arrived closer he finally seemed to notice us and smirked at us before flashing only a few meters in front of us. Sin dash, no wonder all the previous dragons before were slain, with beings as powerful as you it would make sense that they were defeated. Vegeta dash, don't worry, you'll join them soon after. Mocking him didn't seem to give the desired results as he just laughs at my claim. Sin dash, ha, for your information I'm far stronger than the ones before me, the moment I arrived was the moment any chance you guys had at surviving disappeared. Piccolo dash, well let's see about that then. After our small interaction, all of us got into a fighting stance, but before we could fight I stopped them from advancing. Goku dash, what Vegeta? Vegeta dash, don't, what, me Kakarot, you got to fight the last one, so I'm going to fight first and don't even think about joining in you too. Piccolo dash, you can't be serious right now Vegeta. Goku dash, Piccolo's right, Sin is very powerful, you can't let your pride get in the way of this Vegeta. Vegeta dash, TCH, I have a plan, so stop complaining and stay on the sidelines and watch the fight. Ignoring those two, I hover forward till I'm standing right in front of Sin, and smirk at him as I get into my fighting stance. Vegeta dash, come on let me show you the power of a Saiyan. Vegeta POV. Sin dash, ho, so you wish to fight me alone? Very well I shall entertain you, this should be a good warm-up fight. After Sin said that, he himself got into a fighting stance, with both of us ready to battle, we stare at each other for a split second before we suddenly charge at one another. Quickly closing the distance between each other, I roundhouse kick him with my right leg to his face, but he blocks it with his arm and punches me with his other arm which I blocked. Vegeta powerful. Pushing his arm away, I get in up close and personal and punched him in the stomach, which didn't seem to even faze him as he quickly tried kneeing me in the stomach but I blocked it with my leg. Kicking off his leg that I blocked, I backflip away to gain distance while firing ki blasts at him simultaneously which he casually deflected away from him, landing, I launch myself back at him. When I'm close to him I bring my arm slightly backward preparing a punch for him and he seems ready for it, but that punch was a feint, and instead, I flash behind him, grab his 2 giant horns on the top of his head and viciously knee him right in the back of his head, a weak spot for almost every species. Sadly though, while it seemed like a weak spot my attack didn't do anything other than leaving a small bruise on the back of his neck. Seeing as my attack didn't do much I was about to flash away but before I could Sin did a front flip allowing him to kick me in the back and sending me flying in the distance. Only after crashing through several meters of rock did I finally lose enough force to be able to stop myself. Vegeta this bastard is powerful, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Leaping out of the side of the mountain, I see Sin hovering in midair seemingly waiting for me, and who am I to not respond to such kind actions? Giving him a smirk, I fly straight at him and attack him with a punch, and he does the same. When our fists collide it causes a ripple in the air and as we struggle his fist quite easily overpowers mine, and that allows his fist to punch me in the face. Getting punched in the face, I stagger back a few meters and spit out some blood before charging right back at him. As the battle continues, I keep getting more and more injured while I haven't been able to damage him one bit, but I haven't once been worried, because when I told Kakarot I had a plan I wasn't lying. Dodging an elbow which would have been terrible if I got hit, as his spikes would have stabbed me, but I'm kicked into the ground and I skid across it for a while, only stopping when I'm right in front of Piccolo and Kakarot. Piccolo dash, your so-called plan doesn't seems to be very effective. Goku dash, if your plan was to get your ass handed to you then your plan has been very effective. Standing up with minor difficulties, I respond back to them while not turning around along with a smile on my face. Vegeta dash, say what you want, but let me show you the results of the fight. Walking forward to Sin who has appeared not too far away from us, he starts talking when I'm only a few meters in front of him. Sin dash, that was a good warm-up fight, but I think it's about time to end this meaningless fight, don't you think so? Vegeta dash, if you say so. Smirking at him, I start yelling and powering up, and even once I've powered up to full strength my ki continues to rise while not slowing down out at all. The amount of ki I'm releasing causes the weather around us to change into a hurricane, and with me at the eye of the storm, as my power continues to rise, I let out one final yelp before finally transforming back into a Super Saiyan. Vegeta dash. Feeling that familiar power coursing through my body fills me with joy and pride at being able to transform before Kakarot, but one thing I immediately notice is how energy consuming it is. Vegeta, the amount of energy this form is consuming is the same as when I first ever transformed. TSK, damn it, that means I'll have to master this form again. Ignoring how energy consuming my form currently is, I focus back on the now shocked face of Sin. Smirking at him, I flash right in front of him and grab the horn on the top of his head and knee him in the face, and this time I dealt damage to him. Bringing his face up to be leveled with mine, I smirk sadistically and look at his face, which now has a broken nose and dislocated jaw. Vegeta dash, that was a good warm-up fight, but I think it's about time to end this meaningless fight, don't you think so? Ha ha ha. I start laughing as he struggled to get out of my grasp, and he only managed to get free by cutting his own horn off. Once he was free, he immediately flashed away in the distance and looked at me fearfully before powering up and attacking me again. Sin dash, I refuse to believe that you've suddenly gotten more powerful than me. Casually blocking a kick, I grab his still extended leg and relentlessly slam him on the ground before throwing him in the air and firing a big bang attack at him. I saw him try to block the attack, but I've gotten too powerful for him to be able to do something like that, so I watch as my attack envelopes him and then explodes. Seeing his body fall down from the sky with severe injuries, I fly over to him and grab his leg, slam him into the ground again. Flying out of the crater I made with his body, I land on the edge and point my arm in front of me while charging up an attack to completely finish him off. Vegeta dash, any last words before I send you off to see all the other dragons? Sin dash, asterisk cuff asterisk hihi, just one, heed my call dragons, return to me. Right as I fired my attack I suddenly sensed Nala's ki, along with her yelling something. Nala dash, no, Vegeta stop the Dragon Balls. Turning around, I suddenly see 6 objects flying straight at me. My first thought was to dodge them, so I did, but once I got out of the way I immediately realized my mistake, and tried destroying them, but it was too late as the Dragon Balls already arrived next to Sin before they were absorbed into him. The moment Sin absorbed them, a cocoon of negative energy was formed around Sin before it dissipated a few seconds later, and with it emerged a fully healed and far more powerful Sin, along with some appearance changes, such as 4 new spikes growing out his back, and all of his other spikes growing in size, and let's not forget about the 6 cursed Dragon Balls forming a circle in his chest. Omega Shinran dash, you've forced me to use my ultimate form, now how about round 2? Smirking at him, I reach into my pocket, grabbing a couple of senzu beans, and throwing them into my mouth, healing my injured body, along with getting a slight boost in power, allowing me to match Sin's power, which was originally higher than mine. Vegeta dash, don't keep me waiting. Immediately after we both charge at one another, colliding against each other, we quickly partake in a vicious battle with cuts and bruises being formed on our bodies every second. Dodging a kick from him, I get an uppercut to the jaw. Using the moment I gained from the punch, I kick his jaw as well. Quickly stabilizing myself, I dive right back into the fight with both of us trading punches to the face and with neither of us faltering. As the battle proceeds, we continue trading attacks, resulting in both of us getting seriously injured. After a couple of hours of continuous fighting later, we're both heavily injured and breathing raggedly for air, but neither of us lets our eyes leave the opponent in front of us. Vegeta dash, I think it's about time we end this. When I said that, I took a big breath of air before charging up my Gallic gun, and although Sin didn't respond to me, I see he is charging up an attack of his own. After several seconds of charging up my attack, I take in another big breath of air before unleashing my attack right at Sin, who also managed to launch his attack at the same time as mine. Vegeta dash, Gallic Gunn. Omega dash, Negative Karma Ball. When our attacks collided, they released waves of ki in all directions, destroying the very surroundings. Neither of our attacks managed to overpower the other one for a while, until I felt the ki in my attack was slowly getting corrupted and turning into negative energy. My attack wasn't getting pushed back, but I knew it was only a matter of time before my ki wouldn't be able to hold, and it seemed like Sin knew that as well, as he started pushing even harder. When it felt like I was about to start losing ground, I suddenly sensed Piccolo launching an attack at Sin, and as he was in the middle of our tug-of-war fight, he couldn't move, so he had to take the hit head-on, which was a bad move as the attack was aimed right at one of the cursed Dragon Balls, and when the attack hit, it immediately destroyed it. Sin dash, oh. Right, when the cursed Dragon Ball was destroyed I clearly felt Sin's attack weaken, and while I dislike someone interfering with my fight, Sin is someone who would destroy the planet along with my family, so I capitalized on the opening Piccolo provided and released all my ki into the attack. My attack started overpowering Sin's, and it was slowly gaining speed till it was right in front of him, when he saw that he tried abandoning his attack, but when he tried ethereal pink-colored chains caught him, managing to stop his movements for a second before he broke through them, but that was all I needed and my attack finally hit him. As he got enveloped in my attack he started disintegrating along with all the remaining cursed Dragon Balls, and eventually, there was nothing left of the cursed dragons. The moment I stop my attack, I immediately revert to my normal form and I was about to collapse but before I could, I felt someone grab me before I fell. Goku dash, I got you Vegeta. Then I sensed Piccolo and Nala arrive near us. Piccolo dash, it seemed you actually did have a plan Vegeta. Nala dash, so, we've finally managed to take care of the cursed Dragon Balls, although I'm sure we were supposed to gather them not destroy them. Vegeta dash, ha, I've surpassed you, Kakarot, you've better train hard, if you want, to keep up with me. Goku dash, don't worry I'll surpass you again. Vegeta dash, tch, we'll see, about that. While I was getting sent into the other timeline, I was flying through a weird transparent tunnel, and when I looked outside of the tunnel I could see different scenes happening, from Gohan managing to defeat Cell, all the way to SSG Kakarot fighting Beerus. Sage, I must be seeing different events that happened in that timeline, I must be getting close then. As I watched events play out at different points in time through the tunnel, I was suddenly sucked forward before getting shot out of that weird tunnel. Catching myself in mid-air before I crashed to the ground, I was about to find out where I was spat out from when I sensed a powerful ki near me, but before I could even turn my head in the direction where I sensed the ki, I was suddenly attacked from behind and I barely managed to dodge out of the way. Quickly backing away to gain some distance from the attacker, I stopped and turned around, and when I laid my eyes on the attacker I was surprised. Majin Frieza dash, ho ho ho, would you look at that, another monkey suddenly appearing out of nowhere. With this, I'll be able to finally eradicate your entire species. I didn't bother with his stupid speech because I had a more pressing matter. The first was Frieza had been turned into a Majin, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out who did it. The second reason and the main reason why I'm surprised, is that Frieza is currently in his golden form. Sage WIT. If golden Frieza is here, does that mean dash? I didn't bother finishing my sentence and immediately started scanning the place, and when I looked over to my right I finally noticed the two people I didn't wish to see right now, Beerus and Whis, and worst of all they seemed quite interested in me. Sage dammit. What the hell was I thinking when I said that to Ultimate Shinron? Why didn't I specify the time a little more? Now the worst situation has appeared, not only have I been targeted by a god of destruction that I currently can't beat yet, but also a stupid fucking angel. And that's not even the worst part, an angel can't interfere with mortal affairs, so I'm not too worried about him. No, what I'm angry about is since Golden Frieza is here, that means the Universe 7 and 6 tournaments will take place soon, which means I won't be able to get the Super Dragon Balls. While I was lost in my own thoughts I heard two familiar voices come from behind, yet I couldn't sense their ki. Goku dash, is that another Saiyan friend of yours Vegeta? Vegeta dash, TSK, no. I've never seen that Saiyan before, and I'm sure I would have remembered if I ever came across a Saiyan as unique as he is. Goku dash, well let's ask for his help against Frieza, even when both of us team up together we still can't take Frieza down. Vegeta dash, fine. When I heard them arrive close to me, I turned around and noticed that it was indeed Kakarot and Vegeta, yet both of their hair was blue and I couldn't sense their ki. They weren't in the best condition but they could still fight, and before they could speak to me Frieza intervened. Frieza dash, ho ho. Perfect, with all three of you monkeys together you've made killing you easier for me. Once he finished talking with his stupid voice, he raised his hand above him and charged up a supernova attack. Seeing Frieza's attack, both Kakarot and Vegeta powered back up and were about to charge up their own attack, but I stopped them before they could. Sage dash, don't bother attacking, Frieza's my opponent now. I'm quite angry and I need to beat someone up to release my anger. Vegeta dash, what do you mean don't attack? Get out the way you weak dash. I had an idea what Vegeta was going to say, but he stopped mid-sentence when I took off my bracers that were sealing away most of my strength. Frieza dash, did you think showing your strength would win you this fight monkey? If so take this, supernova. Although he was right about that, just unsealing my power wouldn't allow me to defeat him as he was still several times more powerful than me. Sage, but who said this was my full power? Smirking in an almost cynical way, I walk forward right in front of Kakarot and Vegeta who were about to release their attack, but they took longer to charge up as they were slightly shocked at my strength, and this allowed me to intercept the attack first. Frisia dash, ho ho, look at that, he was so eager to die that he dash. Sage dash, what were you going to say, Space Lizard? Although I couldn't see his reaction as I was blocking his attack with one hand after activating Ikari, he probably wasn't feeling too happy as he stopped talking midway through. Tightening my grip on the ball of destruction, I chuck it right back at him, with even more force than when I received it. When he saw his attack coming right back at him, of course, he didn't try to dodge with how arrogant he was, but that was a mistake on his part, as when he tried blocking the attack he was sent flying to outer space, and the attack only exploded once he left the atmosphere. Goku dash, hey Vegeta, did he just take care of the same Frisia we were having trouble with? Vegeta dash, TSK, we would have beat Frisia eventually. Looking up at the sky, waiting for Frisia to come down, I suddenly tilt my head to the side and see a small golden arm appear right where my head used to be. Grabbing his arm, I elbow him in the stomach before throwing him over my shoulder and dropping his back on my knee, and I'm pretty sure I was close to breaking his spine. Throwing him in the distance, I wait for him to get up, and while he's in the process of getting up, he spits out blood before yelling hysterically. Frisia dash, it can't be. There is no way a stupid monkey is stronger than me, Frisia. Not after I've trained for months. Once he finished with his dumb monologue, he fully powered up and charged straight at me, and that put a happy smile on my face as I'm quite pissed at knowing I'll have to wait till the Tournament of Power is over to be able to use the Super Dragon Balls, and even then I'll have to wait another year. Goku dash, he was still holding back when he fought with us. Vegeta dash, damn it. Sage dash, ha ha ha, I love your energy Frisia, you better still have the same energy when I'm ripping apart your body. It hasn't even been 10 minutes since the fight started. Actually calling it a fight would be the wrong term, it was more like playing a game of cat and mouse, except when the cat caught the mouse he didn't just eat him right away. No, instead of directly killing Frisia, I let off some steam by enjoying his cries of agony whenever I brutally ripped off one of his limbs. Sadly though I didn't get to hear him beg for his life, it would have been quite funny to see him do that. While I was torturing him, I did hear Kakarot try to defuse the situation, but I obviously ignored him. Vegeta didn't do anything other than watch the show, and when I looked back once I believe I saw a smirk on his face. One thing I did want to try, is how a typical frost demon tastes compared to a mutated one like Frisia, so when I ripped off his tail I took a bite of it. While it couldn't compare to any earth food, compared to what I was used to eating when I was younger, it would be considered delicious. None of the other frost demons I ate before were nearly as good as Frisia. Sage ha, that felt good, I've managed to let off a lot of anger. Now all I have to do is somehow survive the meeting with Beerus and Whis. I'm sure Beerus wouldn't mind having someone with the potential to fight him. Whis is the one I'm concerned about. Maybe I should have taken Nala with me, whatever, here goes nothing. Now that I've calmed down, I reach down and grab the barely living Frisia by the head. Right as I'm about to crush his head, his facial expression, which was full of agony and pain, suddenly changed into a peaceful one, before he opened his eyes and looked at me while speaking to me in a voice I haven't heard in a long time. Frisia, 21, he, it's good to see you again Sage, how were those 7 years without seeing me? Sage TSK, aren't you a genius? If you've figured out how to cross over into this timeline, I'm sure it isn't too hard for you to keep tabs on our timeline. Frisia, 21, we haven't seen each other in several years and this is how you treat me. My little cupcake has gotten quite sour, I see. Squeezing Frisia's head till it's on the verge of breaking, I threaten him, or 21 to be exact. Sage TCH, I'm not in the mood 21, either quickly finishing talking or I'll break his head. Frisia, 21, okay, always so moody. Anyways, since you've decided to come and interfere with my candies I was saving for later, I've found something quite terrifying but also quite interesting. Sage usually I would be interested, but I couldn't care right now, see ya later. Right as I was about to crush Frisia's head like an apple, 21 said something that really caught my interest, although when I heard it I felt happy but also infuriated. Frisia, 21, Myra's still alive. When I heard her mention the name Mira, it made me recall the events with him which I try my best to not think about, but when she told me he was still alive I could feel the anger trying to seep into my mind along with a sudden spike in power, but this time I didn't let the anger cloud my mind like last time. It wasn't easy but I've had practice with controlling my anger. Sage what did you say? Frisia, 21, Mira is still alive. I don't know exactly how he managed to survive against you at that time, but he did. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. It's about the mastermind behind Mira, Tawa. Sadly though, it seems like our time is up. Those two don't seem like they wish to wait any longer. Don't worry, I'll come to visit you soon. Bye, my cupcake. Seeing the facial expression, which was peaceful, suddenly change back again to what it previously was, allowed me to confirm that 21 is no longer here. Clicking my tongue in annoyance, I crush Frisia's head, causing blood and brain matter to cover my hand as well as my body and pants. Taking a towel out of my pocket that I always keep in case something like this happens, as walking around with someone else's body parts as well as bodily fluids is quite disgusting, and it can soak into my fur, and whenever that happens Nala would always get angry with me. Now that I'm somewhat cleaned, I turn around and find Vegeta and Kakarot have reverted back into their base forms. Everyone else who is present, except for the two special guests, seems quite frightened of me. Well, to be fair, they did just watch me dismantle Frisia and eat a little bit of them. Walking over to where Kakarot and Vegeta are, I pick up my bracers and put them back on again. Probably didn't mention it, but while these bracers look the exact same, they're actually an improved version. They still seal 90% of my strength, but they have an added benefit of calming my mind. Nala told me she made those for me while I was unconscious after my fight with Mira. Didn't want me accidentally going berserk again. Goku dash, you know, even after everything Frisia's done, don't you think that's a little much? Vegeta dash, Frisia deserved every bit of that. Sage dash, I don't care what Frisia's done in the past, I did that because I wanted to. Sage, it seems this Kakarot isn't too different from mine, just this one is dumber. Goku dash, anyways, since Frisia's been taken care of, how about you fight me? Sage, yeah, this one is definitely dumber. Yet before I could respond to Kakarot, another voice sounded out. Whis dash, not so fast Goku, your new friend seems to be somewhere he's not supposed to be. Looking to the side, I see Whis and Beerus standing side by side. I wasn't surprised at how they suddenly arrived near me. My instincts warned me of Beerus's presence, and wherever Beerus goes, Whis is almost always right there with him. Flashing in front of me, Whis taps his staff on the ground, and when he did so, an invisible force emerged from where he tapped his staff on the ground before it eventually formed some sort of bubble that seemed to separate me along with Whis from time and space. Whis dash, now, do tell me why you've decided to come to our timeline. Don't bother lying because I'll be able to tell. Sage tisk, I can't say I came to this timeline to use the Super Dragon Balls. I'm sure Whis will either kill me or lock me away. Damn it, I should have brought Nala with me. I could never lie in front of Meruz, so I definitely won't be able to lie before a true angel, but who said I had to tell him the real reason I came here for? Sage dash, TCH, I've come to this timeline to catch someone who interferes with other timelines of our universe and kills them. When I finished talking, I outwardly stayed composed so as not to give away anything that could be incriminating, but I was nervous as hell. If my idea doesn't work and I get captured or killed, how am I supposed to save my daughter? Whis stared at me for a solid 30 seconds while not moving nor speaking, before he finally reacted. Whis dash, is that so? You don't look nor do you act like a time patroller, but then again Cronoa is quite the oddball, so I shouldn't expect much professionalism from them. But if you're really a part of the time patrollers, do you mind informing me of who is interfering with this timeline? Sage dash, her name is 21, she's a being that's composed of Saiyan, Namekian, human, frost demon, and Majin cells, so if she is given enough time to grow she'll be able to fight on par with gods, but the real threat about her is how terrifyingly smart she is. And since she's interfering with timelines I've come to stop her and kill her if possible. Whis dash, seeing as you haven't lied yet, this 21 could be quite the problem. For now, I won't do anything to you, but I'll always be watching you just in case. Once he finished talking, he tapped his staff on the ground again, causing the bubble around us to break like glass. Whis then immediately flashed next to Beerus before whispering something in his ear, making his face frown. Beerus dash, ugh, why does this have to happen in my universe? Whis dash, it seems something important has come up, and we must go. Bye, everyone. Watching them leave the planet, I finally calmed back down. Sage, it seems I've survived. Now that the hard part is over, everything should be much easier. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kaishin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my Patreon. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Nicholas Berenger, Ben Phillips, Yamatancho, Taco TSK, Yuki, Jose Torres. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be here until next time.